Hi guys, it's Yvette Gavin with Yvette Gavin Consulting, and it's time for Lunch and Learn with Yvette. So today, I'm so excited. It's December, it's my favorite time of the year. So I hope everyone is doing well, and I'll say happy December. It's our first Lunch and Learn this month. Guys, I want to talk to you today a little bit about goal setting, but not in your typical way of goal setting. So last week I had the opportunity to co-host the Boss Network Success Call with Kamika Smith, the Boss Network founder. And one of the things I was able to share on that call was how I go about setting goals and how I teach my clients how to set their goals using one of my success tools that I created for my practice, which I refer to as the career or just a vision plan, because I use the vision plan tool for my married couples when I'm coaching them, as well as with my career clients when I'm coaching them through navigating their careers. So same pretty much tool, I just make some slight tweaks between the two. If you're interested in this tool, I'm offering it to you free. It's on my website at YvetteGavin.com. You go to the resource tab, then just scroll down to that section where it's that link actually that says free resources, and there you will find the vision plan. You can just download it. I actually have one here because I just got off a coaching call where I was working with a client, but it looks pretty much like this. Won't keep it up too much because you'll see some private information on that one. But with that, I have been able to see tremendous success with the people that I've had the pleasure to work with, and partly because I'm not just trying to help someone find a job. I'm going much deeper. I look at it as having like an onion and peeling it back through the layers. So it's not just about getting a new job, but it's finding that job that's going to really fulfill your goals, your dreams, and taking you to that deeper place of purpose. So I want to talk a little bit today about you giving yourself permission to recalibrate. And what does that mean? So I've been working with some resources where I'm actually seeing people pursuing things, as I'm using this career vision plan tool, people are writing down their vision. And rarely have I had a client who could write a concise vision the first time. And typically because people mind, we're everywhere and we're trying to do everything and we're trying to please everybody, and we become the waters, I should say, become a little muddy as we're trying to figure out what it is that we want to do. We want to please our parents. We want to please our spouse. We want to please our current employer. We want this and we want to do that. And so people, I'm learning over a course of time, they begin to just take on what they think others want them to do. And they pursue what they think others want them to have and pursue. And along the way, they end up losing themselves and losing clear sight of their own true vision, of their own true mission in life. And so part of what having a coach will do is help you bring clarity around that. So I'm not just a person who will help you craft a great resume. I do that, but I go way beyond that. I work with my clients in a more holistic way. And I'm sure you will agree, as you have developed and as you've grown over time, your goals and your dreams will start changing as well. So the problem I've identified is that a lot of times as that's happening, people are still trying to track toward the goals that they once set because they said once this is what they wanted to do. And then others try to just home in on that. And I'll give you an example. I'm just not like railing off. I'm just trying to share with you what I'm seeing in my practice. I have one client who has been pursuing trying to get into medical school. And so, she's taken the exam twice now. And, I'm working with her and I'm asking her, why do you want to go to medical school? What is it about becoming a doctor that is really pushing and driving you? And her answer was, well, it is what I've always said I wanted to do. It is what everybody has been supporting me, and her parents and, other, family members have really just been driving her toward that, because indeed it really was once her, her goal. And so she says to me, but once she got into college and she started her, her undergrad studies, she said she's quickly realized it really wasn't what she really wanted to do, but now she was in it. And everyone was expecting for her, to complete her undergrad, then apply for medical school, and then get into a medical program. And that just hadn't quite happened. Well, as we began to work through what's important to her and where she is right now, what started coming to surface is that really becoming a doctor really wasn't what she wanted. It really isn't what she wants today. And it's okay. I'm telling you, it's okay to recalibrate. I want you to start looking at the goals that you are pursuing. Are they really your goals, or are they someone else's goals? Maybe perhaps they really were your goals. So I'm asking you to ask yourself, is it what I want today? Does this still line up with where I see myself tomorrow? I think oftentimes we don't really see goals all the way through because we were never fully committed to the goal in the beginning. And that's just not something that Yvette think. There's research to back that up that supports that. But truly, I want you to start thinking about what do you need to do to start shifting and changing. As I look at the definition for recalibrate, it is to examine, to adjust, to check. I want you to start doing those things right now. It's the season to be celebrating, but I also believe this is the season to clean house. This is the season where you should be examining where you are. So I had a call this past week here in the office where a potential client had just got notice that he had been laid off. And one of the first things, the client said, I got to find a job right away, and I need your help. And so I said, look, okay, let's just step back and take a deep breath for a second. I realized the month of December, there are a lot of us are celebrating with family and friends, but there are quite a few people who are actually getting notifications that they're being laid off. Because as companies are beginning to prepare to close their books and they're looking forward to the new year, they're realizing they can't carry some liabilities forward, and they look for opportunities to start cutting back on that budget, because most of them now know what budget they intend to be working with in the coming year. And so that's why you begin to see some of these layoffs. And so one of the things I said to this potential client, and I want the business, is that, call me back on Monday. And I actually got his name and number, and I'm calling him back later today. But the reason I did that is because I think too often people just rush into the next thing. And I didn't just say, just call me back. I actually spent 30 minutes and I gave this person some guidance. And one of those things that I want you to take this weekend to stop and reflect before we actually start looking at and coming up with a strategy on how you need to move forward. But stop and reflect. And that's what I'm asking you to do during this month of December, to stop and reflect. Reflect on where you are and start thinking about where you want to go. And as you are reflecting, think about the goals that you've already set for yourself. What were your goals for this year, 2017? How did those goals turn out for you? What would you change differently concerning those goals? Are those goals that you set for 2017 the ones that you did achieve? Are you prepared to take those goals to the next level? Because typically what I see is that we all have some level of success, right? So let's say you actually achieve your goals for this year. What's next for you? Are you going to take them to the next level, or are you going to go down a whole different path? What if you didn't achieve the goals that you set? As you reflect, I want you to think about, why didn't you? What were were there things that limit you? where there are lack of resources for you, where there are lack of time, I guess time is resource too, but really what was it? I want you to really think about that. And if you're one of those people who got news this week or, get news this week or got news last week about a shift in your career, like you've lost employment, I want you to take a moment to reflect on what happened at the current company and really think about where you want to go versus just throwing your resume out there, on the internet, on these job boards, and then just waiting for people to call you. I want you to start reflecting. So today I'm talking about giving yourself permission to recalibrate, to make these changes that you need to make in order for you to be where you want to be. And part of that I see is that you being very clear about what it is that you want in life and making sure that the goals that you are pursuing today or the goals that you have written down are really the goals that you want to move forward in. So I came up with 3 things I want you to work on as you're reflecting on how to move forward. Because I want you to think about not just about the next job. I don't want you to think about just about making more money. I want you to think about something that looks more like this, a dream lifestyle. We talk about dream jobs all the time, but I want you to think bigger. And that's what we do at Yvette Gavin Consulting. Every person I work with, I do my best to make sure that they are sharp, that they are polished, and they are ready, more than prepared for the interview, right? And for moving into that job and then landing strong and producing well. But I go way beyond that. I should probably stop calling myself a career coach because, again, I'm a more holistic person. I'm looking at every dynamic of that person's life. And there are a series of tools and questions that I ask. So the one that I want you to move and start thinking about as you're looking at designing and creating a dream lifestyle is this one. I wrote down 3. As you design your dream life, I want you to start thinking about the relationships in your life. I want you to think about your health, your finances. What's most important to you? And then prioritizing those things. So yes, people come to me and for advice on how to advance their career. But as they start looking at and creating a vision for their career, I'm helping them to start prioritizing the other facets of their lives. Where does relationships come in? Where does family come in? I have clients who are single, who desire to be married. And, working with them in their careers, I'm having them to also start thinking about, well, if I desire to be married, where does that come in at? What am I doing to position myself so I can build relationships, so I can be at places and be with people who undergird me and I can undergird them? What about your health? I always tell people it's not just about achieving a goal. I'm working with someone right now who's thriving and working toward becoming a vice president at his company. And so and he has a family. And so one of the things we've been talking about is the expectation of a VP. And the expectation of this particular person where it comes to being a husband and being a father and developing strategies so he can balance all of those things. We've all heard it, right? And we've all seen it by now. We've seen that highly successful person who all they have is just that success on the job, where, they have broken relationships, or perhaps they've neglected their own physical health, and, they're getting sick or they're overweight. I fully believe in having life and life at its fullness. And so it's not just about getting a certain place or making a certain amount of money on a job, but it is fully living the life that you were created to live. And so as you're looking at and setting goals for 2018, when you look at your career, I want you to start thinking more of your full lifestyle. I've shared once with you before, a client who made a decision not to take a job that required him to work on Sundays because his Sundays were very sacred to him. He wanted to be able to attend church services on Sunday, so he turned down a job. Now, if he wasn't clear about his lifestyle, he may have made the mistake and accepted a position because it was offered to him, right? So I want you to prioritize those things in your life. And I'll repeat them again. When you're looking at your career and setting goals for 2018 for your career, I want you also to think of your entire lifestyle. Where does your relationships come in? What's the priority for you? If you're looking at your physical health and your finances, where do these things come in? And for me, when I'm looking at and setting my goals, I'm always including, I do the relationship and the family part. I'm also looking at my physical health and my finances. But the other part for me is always that spiritual part. So I want you to consider that. The second thing I want you to be thinking about as you're looking and planning your goals is understand your motive for your goals. When research shows this too, when your goals are well rooted in something beyond ego or the desire to please someone else, you are more likely to achieve that goal. So I have a client that I'm working with right now, and she desired to publish a book. And so I have 2 books out. So we're talking about, setting up strategies to help her achieve her goal. And so I asked, and here's where a great coach come in. And so a coach will do way more than just help you craft a resume. So I asked her this question: why do you want to publish a book? And her reply was, well, I thought it would be really cool to see my name on a cover. So I asked her, what would motivate someone to purchase a book with your name on the cover? You get where I'm going, right? So the book doesn't really have any benefit. Who's it going to serve? What is the purpose? If your goal, and I'll go back to her goal, if the goal is to publish a book simply so you can see your name in print on a cover, then I said to her, you could go to one of those little really inexpensive, and honestly, I said this back to her because I wanted her to see. I wanted her to go deeper. So I said, sometimes I'll say some little crazy things to my clients to shake them up, to get them to really focus and look at themselves very closely. So I do it with intentions. So I say this to her: why don't you go out to one of those little Snapchat type thing or photo things? You can go online and you can get a book with a cover with your name on it, and you can you can get one of those done for like $30 or less, I believe. And, a lot of the photo books will now allow you to even put in some print inside them, but you can put whatever you want on the cover. It could be soft, it could be hard. So I said, why don't you do that? It'll be faster and it'll be cheaper. Because if your purpose is solely around ego, and to me, that is an ego purpose, that is to come, she said, oh, I thought it would be cool. So it wasn't that I am going to provide content that I think this community or our society, this world needs, that would better someone else, then that's a deeper purpose. I was talking to someone else recently, and this person is interested in pursuing a PhD program. And when I asked why, the answer that came back was that, well, I think it'd be pretty neat to be called a doctor. There's a lot of expense, a lot of time, and a lot of effort go into going through a PhD program. And I surely hope any person who would pursue it, their meaning, their purpose would be deeper. It would be a little bit more substance there than it would be nice to just have it. Maybe that works for you, but I can assure you it doesn't work for most people. You want to understand your why. And you've heard me talk about this a lot, because I strongly believe when we are very clear about our why, When the moments come when you are pursuing that goal and there is no one there, you're lacking the support that you feel that you need in order to achieve the goal. When you go back to that why, it will be that wind that pushes you forward, and you are more likely to achieve the goal. So I want you to set goals that are beyond your ego, and that's what number 2 is all about, understanding your why. The last one I have here for you is this one. I want you to realize that it's not just an either or. I've heard it. You can't have your cake and eat it too. I've heard very highly successful people, if I mention the name, every single person would recognize this. I've heard people say, oh, I would not have been able to achieve this level of success. And in this case, the person I'm referring to is highly successful. I mean, billionaire, I believe. But anyway, highly successful. But there are some other things that this person doesn't have. And so with that, I've heard not only this particular celebrity, but I've heard many other people say these type things. You can't have it all. You can't have success and a family. You can't have high success, right? And great friends. You can't have this and that. I don't believe that. I'm going to get a little closer. I don't believe that. I don't believe life is either or. What I do believe is that there's a process and there's a season. I believe that. I believe there's a season for certain things. And I believe that you can't have everything in one season, perhaps. But this whole thing that I can't have, I have to choose this or choose that, I can't have both. I never bought into that. I believe that you can be successful and be a wife. I believe you can be successful and have a happy marriage, that you can be highly successful and be a great husband. I believe you can climb that corporate ladder and still be a great mother, a great father. That you can still be a very kind person in society, that you can be a person who support your parents, even your siblings, that you really can be a friend and have someone else's back as you're pursuing your own goals and your own dreams. I do believe we can have those things. Now, again, I believe that there's season for things. And when I mean by that, there are seasons where you're going to be maybe 80% in one area and you're going to be 20 in something else. But here's how I'm teaching my clients how to stay the course and not move into this either or type thing. And it's this. I'll give you the example first. So let's say you have a passion for something. And whatever reason, your passion has not been able to sustain a lifestyle, the lifestyle that you desire. So you're working in a job that actually brings in the income you need, but it's not really your passion. It's not that you hate what you're doing or you totally dislike it. It's totally against your grain. You are highly good at it. And this happened to a lot of people. It happened to me. And so you're really good at it and you're excelling in that thing. But it's still not your passion. It is not that thing that you would really do without sleep, that you would do whether anybody paid you or not. It's not the passion. So how do you have it? How do you have both? How do you still maintain this place of employment that bring in the income, that's paying the bills, that actually is allowing you or could allow you to move into your passion? You can find a way. As you're still doing this thing here, I'm using this, left hand to represent this source of income. And this right hand is where your passion is. What if you're still doing this every day, Monday through Friday? And then this passion thing is something that you do and you come up with when you do it. I'm teaching my clients to spend at least 15 to 20 minutes a day doing something in the area that they're passionate about, while they're still doing the core thing that's taking care of current debt, current responsibilities, but finding a way. And I want to challenge you to do that as you're looking at setting your goals for 2018. find at least 15 minutes a day to do some of the things that you're passionate about. Let's say you are passionate about writing romance novels or writing stories. 15 minutes a day, you can find that. What if you decided, I am going to spend part of my weekend doing some of the things I love doing? That's what I did. I have always had a heart to teach, to help others, to encourage others. For years, I spent one Saturday out of every month hosting a breakfast for women where I created an environment where I could sow into the lives of others. That's always been my passion. That's why I'm here every Monday for this Lunch and Learn, because I want to sow into you. I want to give information that will help you grow, that will help you live a better life and move you toward that path of where you're really living in purpose, right? You're living inside your purpose and in your dreams. So here, I'm going to summarize these 3 things I want you to consider as you're moving in and setting goals for your 2018. The first one is stop just focusing on your dream job, but start creating goals around your dream lifestyle, considering other aspects of your life outside of just the job piece. The second one is understand your motive. And once you look at your current motive, and if you determine that it is not established in something that is strong, then I'm encouraging you to reset, recalibrate those goals. And then this last one is stop thinking it's either or, that you can't have something because you have this responsibility over here, and start looking and creating ways as you're setting your goals where you can start incorporating those things that you are very passionate about so you're still getting them in. I tell people this story all the time. I'm not telling you to do it because I don't want you having any car accidents, but I honestly did do this. I bought one of those wireless headpieces, and so I live out far. I'm out in the boonies, and so I've never had a job in recent years that was close to my home. So I had become accustomed to long commutes, and I decided that I would manage that commute, and so I would use my commute as a time to learn. So I would, do audible books. And so that's one way I would get a lot of my reading done when I was working like that. But that last year that I was on my corporate job, my commute was about an hour and a half. And so one of the things I started doing, I started coaching. And so I would set up and schedule clients, and I would let them know, I didn't tell them I was actually in my car, but I would let them know that I was remote. that I was in a location where I may or may not have, I may have to jump off suddenly. And it never happened, but I would try to set up the expectation in case that happened. Never did, but what I was able to do in an hour, I could be on the phone with a client and I'm coaching. That's one of the beautiful things about being able to do work remotely. And, and there were times when I may have said to a client, if I think about it, that I'm actually mobile at this moment, but we can go ahead and still have this session. And so I would do that. And so I found a way to still do what I was passionate about while I was still holding down and maintaining and actually thriving on a 9-to-5, if you will, right? So I want to encourage you to do the same. Hey guys, I'm going to just check and see. Hi, Pastor Benefield. So good to see you. Thank you so much. So let me know, guys, if you have any questions. Oh, thank you, Christina. She put down here, remember your why, and that is so important. So this question, if you're not living a happy life, let me make sure I got what you're saying, Joey. If you're not living a happy life, you can't be successful. So I'm gonna see if I can address that a little bit, because I hope that wasn't what you heard me say. So the comment here is, if you're not living a happy life, you can't be successful. I would say that's an individual thing. An individual thing. Someone may say, I'm not really happy, but I am successful. And I actually know some people who would say that. So success is relative. Each person define what success is for them. And so I could look at you and think that you are highly successful based on the world or our society definition of success right now. And the only thing I would probably be basing that on is what I could see. But you know, internally, if you're not happy, then you may not feel successful at all. And so again, that's a great thing about setting goals and going deeper into what's really motivating your goals so you can really understand what's most important to you. And that's where success really comes from, is you defining what's important to you, not what someone else want you to set as something that's important to you, but really what's most important to you. Okay. Hi there. Can't drive in an ocean of employment without learning how to swim through the current. Now that's definitely true. That's definitely true, which is one of the reasons why I enjoy what I do, is because this definitely is an ocean, and I love helping people navigate through it. You know, I feel like I have been highly blessed in the marketplace. And I've learned some things. I've learned a lot of things, and I love sharing those things. I don't know everything about gaining employment, or I don't know everything about how to get promoted or how to move up the corporate, but I do know a lot of things. And the things that I do know are things that have been tried. Most of them I have walked through and lived through myself. I think what excites me the most is that the things that I have been given from a skill perspective and an awareness perspective, now that I am actually in business, I am teaching others how to use those things, the tools, and I'm sharing my perspective and my awareness, and I am seeing these things work for other people. And so that's how, for me, that's one of my signs of knowing that I am where I'm supposed to be. Because when I can take something that worked for Yvette and I can teach someone else how to do what I did, and they get similar success, and in some cases they're getting way more. I mean, I told this story before. One of my clients was making $70,000 a year. Her personal goal when she asked me to work with her was to increase her income. She moved from 70 to about 172. I typically would just say 170, but it was about 172 and some change. And that is the truth. And so I never had a personal jump that high. I've made great money, but I never had one single jump where I went that high, where I moved from one income level. And that's almost like 3 times, guys, right where she was. And so for me to be able to coach her and help her navigate through a system, and then she like supersede anything that I had ever done myself. I mean, that is fulfilling to me, and that is success to me. Not because it's so much money, it's success to me because I was able to walk alongside her, and she exceeded what I had been able to do in my own personal life when it comes to how high the growth was at one single jump. Hey, I really appreciate these comments and these questions so much. Do what drives you, not what you expect to do. Yeah, thank you for writing that. I do agree with that. You should, I highly recommend that. Do what drives you and not what others expect that you should be doing or what others want you to do. I have a personal friend and who has an engineering degree. And right out of college, she landed her first engineering job at a major company. And she just wasn't happy. She just wasn't happy. And so one day in talking with her, and of course this was some years ago when this happened, but what happened to her, she actually tried to commit suicide because she was living a life that her mother wanted her to live. And she had not developed the conversational tools that she needed to be able to express to her mom how she really felt about her life and her career. So her mother was an educator, and her mother was one of those type people who had poured a lot into her children, and so she wanted her kids to be successful. So my friend, is brilliant. She's very smart. And so one of the things her parents saw was that she could probably do anything she wanted to do. And yes, it was true that you didn't see a lot of a lot of women with engineering degrees. And she came out of college in the early 80s, right? About 82, 83 time frame. And so even more so then, right? You saw less then. And then she's African American. And so, you just didn't see a lot of women. And then you definitely did not see a lot of African American women. So her parents were extremely proud of the fact that she had earned her engineering degree. And like I say, she was caught right up. She landed an excellent job right out of college. But becoming an engineer was a passion for her mom. That was something that her mother wanted for her, not anything she ever wanted for herself. Actually, she saw herself being in fashion, and she really wanted to own a fashion boutique. And actually now today she owned two. But the thing is, she stayed in a role that she was doing fine in it, but she wasn't happy. And she was so unhappy that she didn't even know how to get herself out of it. And so she chose something that I don't recommend anyone doing. And so she tried to take her own life, to just get herself out of misery. And thank God, and I'm saying thank God that it did not work for her, right? And so she's still here today on this earth. But she's a happier person because she did learn how to have that conversation. And now she's doing what she desired to do. But I still will continue to use her as an example. But it wasn't like a clear cut. And so for years, she continued to do her work and work for the company that hired her. She's only had one employer. But she began to start pursuing her passion. And her passion was to help, style and dress other women while she was still working. And she became, a mother. And so she raised her kids. And so now she's doing what she really loved. But she began, like that third thing I've already, suggested you do. She found a way to start incorporating her passion into her lifestyle as she was still continuing to work and bring in a great income. Okay, they're letting me know that our time is up. So that was what that look was. Hey guys, it's always my pleasure to be here with you on Mondays for Lunch and Learn. I hope you found some value in the information on some things that you should start asking yourself about as you're looking to set your goals for 2018. I'm hoping that you will take up these 3 questions and apply them to your life and start looking at your life holistically and not just as one single thing. I also, guys, before we go, I want to invite you to join me this Tuesday. I'm going to be, the Boss Network is doing a virtual conference. And I would love for you to join me on Tuesday. I will be the speaker at 1 p.m. on next Tuesday. I'm sorry, I should give you the date, right? That is December 12th. And then on December 14th, if you are in the Atlanta metro area, you will not want to miss this. I will be at the Barnes & Noble in Cumberland, up there by Cumberland Mall on Cobb Parkway at 7 p.m. on December 14th. I will have my book, Recalibrate, there with me, and I would love to see each of you. And I would do a little small talk, and I will be available to answer your questions. And that's what we're going to do next Monday. Next Monday, I am going to dedicate this time to answer your questions. So I've always encouraged you to send us questions. Go out to my website, YvetteGavin.com. Go to that comment tab or contact tab. Go to that comment box and then just write in your question. I'm going to try to do at least 4 or 5 next week. We do have some already, so I'll start going through them and we'll make a decision on which ones that we're going to keep. Okay? So I hope you have a wonderful week. And if you have any additional questions about setting goals for 2018, send me a question. Talk to you later. Bye.